How can a handshake create a legally binding business contract? Imagine two people shaking hands after agreeing on a deal. You might think a handshake is just a friendly gesture, but it can be more than that. In business, a handshake can actually form a legal contract. How does that work? Well, it depends on whether certain key elements are present when the handshake happens. First, there needs to be an offer and acceptance. One person must clearly offer something, like selling a product or providing a service. The other person must accept that offer without changing the terms. For example, if someone offers to sell a car for a certain price and the buyer agrees, that's offer and acceptance. Next, there has to be consideration. That means both sides exchange something of value. It could be money, goods, services, or even a promise not to do something. For instance, if you agree to buy a computer for $100, the money and the computer are the consideration. Both parties also need to intend to create a legal agreement. This mutual intent is essential. If both people shake hands and say, "We agree," it shows they want this to be a real contract. The parties must also have the legal capacity to make a contract. This means they are old enough, mentally capable, and not under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Plus, the contract's purpose must be legal. You cannot make a handshake deal to commit a crime or do something illegal. When these elements are all present, a handshake can be enough to create a binding agreement. The handshake itself is a symbol of mutual agreement, not what makes it enforceable. Courts look at what was said, how the parties acted, and any follow-up communications. For example, emails confirming the deal or the work performed after the handshake can serve as proof. However, some contracts, like those involving real estate or promises that take more than a year to complete, usually have to be in writing to be enforceable. Handshake agreements in these cases are often not enough. Even though a handshake can be legally binding, it is wise to put agreements in writing. Written contracts clearly state what each person agreed to and help avoid misunderstandings. They also make it easier to prove what was agreed upon if a dispute arises. In short, a handshake can create a legal business contract if all the necessary elements are there, and the agreement is not one that must be in writing. It's a simple gesture, but it can carry legal weight when the right conditions are met.